Bang, bang. Three for one.
What's up, Nerfers, and welcome back to my channel. In case you didn't know, my preference for manual Nerf springers has always been a bullpup like this. On a bullpup, the barrel goes all the way from the front here, almost to the rear of the blaster, allowing it to be really small and compact, great for close ranges, while also not compromising on the 300 FPS power you'd expect of a Nerf sniper. Essentially, you get a sniper that can play well in close ranges. Up until now, the only real options were the 3D printed Lynx and its derivatives like the Slinks, or the pretty terribly made injection molded X-Shot Longshot. That is, of course, until now.
Meet the Guardian Lynx, a fully CNC metal Lynx clone made in China. This is an incredibly solid blaster with no movement at all between parts. I'd put it in the same kind of ballpark as something like the Sabre Apex Prime. This purple one was sent to me thanks to Foamwork Adelaide here in Australia, who'll be selling it for 600 kangaroos. And this red one here was sent to me thanks to DartBros, who'll be selling it for 400 bald eagles. Both Foamwork and DartBros are paying royalties to Dan at Orion Blasters, who designed the original Lynx this is a rip-off clone of. So despite this blaster being an unauthorized one, your moral compass can rest easy buying from either of these two sellers, who I'll link down below. Up front, there's 3 centimeters of exposed 13mm ID, 16mm OD barrel, where you can attach some Nerf rifling. DartBros sent me their new RGB tracer unit with built-in B-car to test. It attaches using a threaded locking nut, but I found that it doesn't do up very tight at all. You can very easily pull it straight off, but in actual use, I didn't find it flying off the end of the blaster. The tracer function has a bunch of different colors you can cycle between with the button on the front, and if you have glow-in-the-dark darts, this will activate them when you fire. I'm yet to find any good quality glow darts, so for today, I'll just be using this for its accuracy benefits. And Foamwork's front end, I've got their Flag and Armor B-car, which I've had for a while now. That one does, of course, tighten enough that you can't pull it off, and I'll compare both of these later on in an accuracy test. The barrel itself uses a Worker Harrier thread, and it's 45 centimeters long. You could, of course, go with a longer barrel, and Foamwork offer a 70 centimeter one, though personally, after seeing the FPS this puts out, I'm more than happy with the stock barrel length. Up top, there's a Picatinny rail spanning the front half of the blaster, where I'd recommend adding a 1x red dot sight. This is the same length pick rail as the original Lynx and seems the perfect length to me once you shoulder the blaster, with my cheek sitting about 4 centimeters back from it, so you wouldn't really want it any larger than this. At the bottom of the handguard, there's a Picatinny rail segment where you can attach your pump grip. Inside of that bottom rail, kinda hard to see from the outside, there's 2 bearings. There's also more bearings on the sides of the handguard, which all slot into guide channels, giving the Guardian Lynx an incredibly smooth prime. On the sides, there's screw ports where I'm guessing you can attach your own Picatinny rail if you want. I didn't see any included in the box, but I think a lot of you will want to get some for it because what appears to be M-LOK slots up top are actually undersized and just for looks. Moving further back, the Guardian Lynx takes airsoft or gel blaster AEG motor grips. DartBros include a 3D printed grip, while Foamwork offer a gel ball grip for 30 kangaroos. I like that you can customize it with a grip of your choosing. A lot of blasters are doing this these days, even cheap ones like Dart Zone through to the Apex Prime that's similarly priced. The trigger pull has a little bit of slack, but once you take it up, there's very little more until it fires. Here's a couple of trigger pulls uninterrupted. Additionally, if you keep the trigger held in while priming, just like the original Lynx, this has slamfire. Though it's not a feature I'd ever actually use. I can't believe some people get so excited about slamfire. The trade-off is you can't deprime it without firing.
Personally, I've never been a huge fan of slamfire. You're trading any form of accuracy for a slightly quicker trigger time, which if you actually just reset the trigger between shots, it's not all that much different in terms of time. You can still fire pretty rapidly. without using slam fire at all.
Moving on to the magwell, it's Worker Talon spec, and because there's no breach in the way, just like the original Lynx, primed or not, the mags gravity drop effortlessly when you hit the paddle mag release. Behind the magwell, there's some cutouts where you could put a carabiner for a sling. Another cool little feature on the DartBros version, they've laser engraved the DartBros logo on either side. On, I believe, everyone else's, there's a peace and love sticker on the magwell, which you can remove if you like, but you have to do it letter by letter. At the back, it has a metal stock with a slight curve to it, but no padding. I'll probably add some myself eventually. I don't think it will be too difficult to do something using the 2 existing screw ports. You could even keep it simple and just use some self-adhesive foam padding and then cut little holes where those screws go in. One more thing I should probably mention is the way this is assembled is quite different than the original Lynx. There's a lot of screws to undo if you want to say change the spring, whereas the Lynx and derivatives you just pull out a pin and it comes apart. Also, because you're screwing metal into metal, I'd highly recommend Loctite, especially on the bearings, as I had one of those come off during gameplay. Anyway, with that I've pretty much covered my overview of the Guardian Lynx, so now let's get on with some testing. First up will be the chrono test of DartBros versus Foamwork. I can already feel the prime weight of the spring in DartBros is a little weaker, so I think the FPS will be a little lower. Of course, you can upgrade the spring or downgrade the spring yourself, and Foamwork offer a 240 FPS spring. There's of course this 290 FPS spring, and the stock spring these usually come with gets around 165. The darts I'll be using are 1 gram worker bamboos. Let's get started.
Okay guys, first up I got 10 worker bamboos in the DartBros Lynx. They have a slightly weaker spring in this one compared to the Foamwork. I think it'll shoot around 250 or so. Got their tracer unit big car attached on the front. Let's see how it does. That's not good. It chambered a dart but then let go on the catch. Wonder if that trigger's not resetting properly. 249. As I prime back forward, I'll hold that trigger forward. There we go, 250. No, it's not the trigger. I reckon maybe the spring in this is binding up. 252. It's weird because it's a weaker spring than what's in Foamwork, but that doesn't have the issue at all. 251. I'll try and get these 10 shots for you. 246. Priming it slower seems to work. 252. No, it doesn't. 250. We've got 3 more shots to try and struggle through. 250. I don't get why it's doing this all of a sudden. 251. And 253. Okay, 10 more worker bamboos, this time in the Foamwork Adelaide Lynx. We've got the flag and armor B car from them attached. Strongest spring in this one shoots around 300, and I haven't had any of the same issue with this one that I just had with that. Let's see how it does. Yeah, that's a much heavier prime. 284, 298, 295, 286, 297, 286, 284, 291, 288, 286. And that's all 10.
Over the chrono, DartBros Guardian Lynx averaged 250 FPS with the provided spring, while Foamworks averaged 289 with its heavier spring and heavier prime. I'm not entirely sure why DartBros wasn't catching, but it seemed to fix itself during the accuracy test, which I'll move on to now.
Okay guys, for the accuracy test, as usual, I'll be sitting over there at the drum using a sandbag as a rest. That's 30 meters away, or 100 feet for my American viewers. With this blaster, with its tiny bit lower FPS, I'll be aiming at the white sign up here. With the 300 FPS Foamwork Adelaide one, I'll be aiming a bit lower, about around that white print on the target there. And hopefully those shots should land around the center of the target. Anyway, with 15 worker bamboos loaded up, let's see how it does. Oh, first shot actually chambered properly. That was nice and near the center, a little bit low and to the right by the looks. A little bit to the right. A little bit low. That wasn't too far off, a little low though. Low and right. Wow, it hasn't done it so far. That was very far low and right. Back towards the center. So it is like firing through a bit of faux barrel that can throw off the aim a bit. Low and right. So I don't expect it to be as good as the Foamwork Adelaide Vicar, but we'll see. That was another low and right one. Low and left. I think that was almost on the bullseye, that one. Bit to the right. Low and right. Bit to the left. It still hasn't actually bound, the spring still hasn't actually bound so far. On the bullseye, maybe the problem fixed. That's all 15 with no dramas. All right, I've got to put this scope on there. People constantly ask me what the red dot sight I use is. This is a Real Steel Hollow Sun HS506. I wouldn't recommend actually getting one for your Nerf blasters. I had this for Real Steel long before I started Nerf. So what I'd recommend instead for you guys is just going on Amazon or eBay or something and getting a $20, $30 red dot. Don't get anything magnified though, get a 1x red dot. Anything magnified is going to take longer to aim with. All right, 15 worker bamboos now with the Foamwork Adelaide Lynx. We've got the flag and armor B-car attached. Let's see how it does. I will be aiming a little bit lower because this does shoot a bit hotter than that red one does. Lovely, a little to the right, but close to the center. Bit low, bit high, bit low, bit high and right, bit high, bit high and left. Bit to the right. Center. Center. Bit high. Bit high and right. A little to the right, pretty close to the center though. Right, high and right. That's all 15. Let's head back inside and see which one did better.
First up in red, DartBros Tracer B car shot a spread with worker darts 55 centimeters wide and 40 centimeters tall. Shown in purple, the Flag and Armor B car with the same darts shot a spread 50 centimeters wide and 55 centimeters high. Both were pretty close to being the exact same, but I think the DartBros B car has a very slight edge here. To be honest though, both were kind of average. Personally, I'd run this with a Saber B car or an AccuBlue 18 along with T-darts. I think the first T-dart shipment arrives early next month at Foamwork, so until then I'm trying to use up the last of my workers. As for the blasters themselves, after testing both of these and using them for some gameplay, what do I think of them overall? Well, what do you think I think of the Guardian Lynx? Finally, I have a high quality Bullpup Nerf Springer, so I don't need to use the 3D printed slinks or the cheaply made X-Shot long shot anymore. The short length means it can destroy at close range, and the high performance means it can destroy at long range. It's the best of both worlds, now in fully CNC aluminium. My suggestion when assembling these is to use the low strength Loctite on all the external screws, just like you would on the Saber Apex Prime, and on the internal parts like the bearings, use permanent Loctite so they don't back themselves out. The catching issue I had on the red one during the chrono test, I think it could have been the spring twisting itself sideways. The problem went away on its own, but I do know that DartBros are using a different spring than the custom ones Foamwork are. And I didn't have any issues at all with Foamworks despite it being a much heavier prime. To sum up the Guardian Lynx, it's basically the manual springer I've been waiting for. And you can expect to see a lot more of it in future videos. It's priced similar to the Saber Apex Prime, and between the two, while the Apex has a larger air volume and more power, I think this, simply due to its shorter length, is the more practical blaster. Especially if your field has any close range areas at all like mine does all over the place. I know there'll be people who dislike bullpups and dislike having the mag at the back, but I also know there's plenty of people who love them, and this is the best one available right now. Let me know which side of the fence you're on in the comments down below. That's all I have for you today. Like, comment, subscribe, and all of that. Here's 2 other videos you might enjoy, and as always, thank you very much for watching. See ya!